Let's go. I'm doing that for a couple people that like that. Bless your hearts. But mainly I'm doing that because that meme is, I can get a little too fired up. It's a blessing and a curse, okay? And I had COVID not too long ago. This will all make sense. And when you have COVID, you get behind on a lot of things, okay? Y'all know that if you've had it. And some of those things if you're an idiot, some of those things you perceive to be more important than they actually are. So if you're not thinking clearly, I pushed myself way too hard once I was no longer symptomatic or contagious. And I caused a significant health setback by doing that, okay? And it was my fault. Even caused a dental emergency through the fatigue of pushing it too hard. Thank you, Felipe Jazzbomb, for letting me vent about dentists in your DMs. 3 visits while feeling like hell, and it was my fault. So you don't need this advice because y'all a lot brighter than I am. But if you're of a certain age, vintage, let's say middle age or older, which is 99% of the VC, not you, Malaya, be cognizant of your re-entry post-COVID. Know what your heat shield can take, because I pushed it way too hard, especially knowing my background. I shouldn't have done that. I let some people down, but luckily I dodged some bullets on some deals. Luckily that didn't go through during my fever dreams, and some better opportunities turned up. So there's some changes coming to my life, and you'll be seeing those because I'll be broadcasting from a different place. So that's exciting. There's someone far more attractive than I am in my orbit that would like to be somewhere very special. So fingers crossed that will work out because I like where I live. The Church of Elvis anymore, Latter-day Saints, which I'm the founding pastor, has been very, very successful in Northwest Fulton County, Atlanta. But we're going to the burbs. We're going to the burbs, and we're taking on the mega churches. We're going to convert y'all. So look out for that. So videos will even get more spotty. But the most important part doing this video is to say thank you. Thank you to all the messages and comments, emails, DMs, text messages, everything, checking in on my health. Some people multiple times. And it was a little embarrassing. And I think I told you, some of you, that I really screwed myself up. And it's humbling, but it was very, very touching. It's the best part of the community, is when people rally around you to make sure you're well and give you encouragement, and that's exactly what everyone did. So thank you again. Now, this isn't going to be a normal Vinyl Soup, because normally I do vinyl, music news, I attempt sketch comedy, and talk about your channels. But I'm so out of the loop. I've been rarely on Rachel's Ghost, practically 0 times the last 2 weeks. I really feel behind on videos. I noticed there's been UHQR drama, a lot of audiophile news, a lot of audiophile videos. So I don't have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to talk about things that y'all been probably talking about weeks ago. And I keep it simple. I'm going to talk about a few records. I'm going to talk about Rick Beato, believe it or not, which you've probably already covered this video. I'm going to talk Stones In Mon, which is months late. But Mazzy mentioned that when he had COVID, he didn't listen to a lot of music because he didn't want to associate music with COVID. And I get that, but that's all I did. And I spent a lot of time with Stones In Mon, and I pestered y'all in the beginning, your experiences with it, because my thoughts of it are pretty black and white. So I want to talk about that. And then that's it. I just want to say hello. It's going to be dicey doing videos because I'm really, really focused on getting some things done in my personal life. And but more importantly, it's just so great to say thank you to everyone. So let's get into a few records. Let's see if it's still in there. It is. I'll talk about that in a minute. It's been so long since I've done a video. I don't know if the light is going to be able to let you see that. Miles Davis, Big Fun. The great Tom Rashawn. 1974, I think. The great Tom Rashawn on his Instagram, and you should follow his Instagram, and I'll link it below. I'm almost positive he posted this a few weeks ago. Actually, Tom's name's going to come up again in this video later, which is interesting. When I had COVID and I was just like mindlessly scrolling when I was bored at times, I feel like numerous people have been posting this. I'm not going to say a lot, but more than normal for this record. And I don't want to give you the impression that it's going through some renaissance because it makes you think that this record was ever a big deal. I don't know if it was or not. It came before my time. But it's so cool to see people posting this because I love this record. I love this record I love it more than Biatch's Brew. I'm going to be honest with you. I listen to Big Fun more than Biatch's Brew. And so, I mean, I love everything. I love the color. I love, that kind of on-the-corner artwork. I forgot the artist's name, but this gatefold is amazing. This amazing picture of Miles. And Tio Marceo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, as the producer. And Miles, obviously the art is in the sessions, of course, but it is the splicing and dicing and putting together and editing. And I'm not sure if these are from sessions from Biatch's Brew or On the Corner or other records, but it's still cohesive nonetheless. Great Expectations is a great track on here. It's darker. It just feels like it has more space. The grooves or the funk is a little tighter with the jams, and I just really like it. And it's not particularly expensive. You can, of course, stream it. But if you like Biatch's Brew and you're not listening to Big Fun, check it out. It's a really, really good record. And again, I just love the whole packaging of it. It's just fantastic. So, the other thing I want to show. This is a promo copy. 74. May 20th, 1974. When you get these promo press releases, when you get promos, this is for more American United States viewers, but it has the CBS Network News official font, Walter Cronkite era font. And the reason I'm showing this is, I mean, these are kind of boring to be honest, but it's fun to have them with the record. But this has two significant typos. How dare you use the Tiffany Network's news font and have two typos? But if you've seen this, you know where the typos are. So thought I'd show that part. Okay, Rick Beato. Again, I'm going to talk about two things, the Stones In Mon and this Rick Beato thing that you all probably already talked about in streams and various videos. But Rick Beato recently did an interview with Keith Jarrett. And as many of you know, Keith Jarrett had a pretty serious stroke. And he only has the ability to work with his right side of his body. Now, a lot of people give Rick Beato stick for numerous reasons. Sometimes it's his insane thumbnails or maybe his modern production on music. But I will tell you this, that man knows jazz inside and out. He could play a Love Supreme backwards. And again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating things y'all have talked about, but his interview with Keith Jarrett, I'm showing Survivor Suite because I've been playing this a lot lately, was one of the most inspiring videos. I watched it twice. And to see the way that Keith Jarrett, with just his right hand on a piano, could still communicate the ideas and answer questions and be on topic and expand the conversation with Rick Beato was absolutely incredible. The man is an inspiration. And just with that right hand, his singular right hand, he was absolutely amazing on the piano. And just to see Keith's total commitment to music and his presence during that interview, I'm sure Rick was blown away. There are too many records to start with Keith Jarrett. He is just one of the most singular and most important modern jazz performers, composers in American music. He is very, very special. And I think Survivor Suite is appropriate to show when you're talking about Keith Jarrett now. And if you haven't watched that interview with Rick Beato, and even if you're not a jazz fan or even a Keith Jarrett fan, watch that interview. because it was one of the most incredible things I've seen lately. So, Keith Jarrett. Let's get on to Stones in Mono. I'm sure you're all very excited. This is when you're all check out. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stones in Mono, number 2643. I jokingly referred to it as the Fisher-Price version, Stones in Mono, because of all the color. The Stones just don't feel right in color, but it is, in all seriousness, and that's on Discogs, by the way, Fisher-Price version. It's a great workaround in order to get this into the hands of people who wanted it. So it's clever. It's the way to do it. I slept on it in 2016. It's not because I don't like the Rolling Stones. I love the Rolling Stones as far as classic rock goes. And I don't listen to a lot of classic rock, but like Zeppelin, Floyd, Doors, Beatles, I listen to the Stones more than all of them combined. Okay? It's not because the Stones are better. It just hits my dopamine different. It's just the pure rock and roll-ness. I love Keith Richards' approach to guitar. He has this mathematical, high IQ approach to the guitar, but this hyper pirate exterior. I just love the Stones. But I slept on it because the bullseye for me, and it's guided by some issues, but the bullseye for box sets to me is very, very small. The presentation, the contents, all those things are highly important to me because I can't afford to have bricks sitting around where I live. I don't have a lot of space. I will now, unfortunately, but I'm just careful. I err on the side of caution when I get box sets because I think most of them miss. But when they're in the right hands, like Tom Rashawn, they can be, and I'm talking about the art direction, the jackets, the vinyl, the contents, all those things. When they're done in the right hands, they can be sublime. They can be one of the best purchases you make. They become an heirloom. Mono, this is more of a question to my commenters. Mono's a relic, okay? It's a relic. When I was buying records, initially when I was young, you didn't have the option to get mono records. Now, for those of you who are just slightly older than I am, when you would go to the record store, what dictated if you picked a mono record or stereo? Was it just the availability? Did your store only, like say they just got that Beatles record in mono and so you picked it up? Or they only had the stereo version, so you picked that up? Or if you were a super fan back then, did you get both versions? I don't know how that was dictated because I didn't grow up in an era where you had that choice. Now collecting, of course, later on you have that choice. But when you're building a box set, you're building a relic when it comes in mono. And I have to say, again, this isn't a complaint, it's just an observation. These jackets and the imaging source and everything, it's just not good. It's just not good. Now, I knew that. That's why I was pestering people. And they had to copy what they did initially. They can't go back and build something totally different. They did the colored vinyl for that reason. But I feel like when you're doing a relic, like building a mono box set, you should, like these Dylan in mono. These jackets, these tip-on jackets, the artwork. It just feels like something that came out in mono when it first came out. And this was one of the best values ever in a box set, by the way. Same with Coltrane in mono. The jacket, the presentation, the art, everything is just spot on. And when it is in the hands of someone great, even if it's simple, when it doesn't have like a huge book or anything like that, the focus on the jackets and the vinyl and the presentation of what maybe a mono record was like when you got it, I think that's part of the fun when you build a relic like this. So I do wish they were better. That being said, the music sounds incredible. It really, really does. And I know Bip Bop Boom John had some legitimate complaints about the contents of the collection itself. And I do agree with that to some, yeah, I do. But they sound fantastic. They're flat, they're quiet. Any picky audiophile out there would be extremely happy with these sets. I don't have any noise at all. I know people have been talking about noise. I have no way of comparing it to 2016. And I wouldn't, because I would have had it and I wouldn't need the new one. But overall, the music-wise and just the vinyl particulars are fantastic. So that's my yin and yang about Stones In Mon. Overall, happy with the music. I just wish they would have built something better as far as the jackets and the artwork. And the book is okay. So that's it on Stones In Mon. Back to Big Fun, indirectly. I just want to say a few words about Wayne Shorter. Believe it or not, and without getting emotional, I've been thinking a lot about him. And I did a video solely on Wayne some time ago. And I'm not going to link to it because nothing I can say right now or link to will do justice as far as my end to the career and the man that was Wayne Shorter. He was a proper genius. Not just one of the most important figures in the history of jazz. As far as America goes, one of the most important figures, composers in the history of American music. You know, jazz fans can be a bit snobby, believe it or not. And I remember on some boards and so forth, people would try to sound so urbane and smart when they would try to separate, well, he was a better composer than he was a player. Like there was any importance of separating that out, which is complete horseshit. Wayne could fucking blow. Okay? Just found it so ridiculous. His ability and to reflect his own vibe and views or approach to life. His ability to keep your attention while building tension, delaying satisfaction, it was just remarkable the way he could do that. And it is so satisfying. And to know that he was inserting so much of himself in that approach to music made it that much more to fall into and to make it part of you. And his relationship with Herbie. Those men could get into each other's souls. The only person who wrote better for Herbie than Herbie was Wayne. Their relationship, both as friends and music, was inspiring and remarkable. So again, I can't say anything that will do Wayne justice, but he will be missed. But we have so much music, and I will treasure my Wayne Shorter collection, and I hope the people that I give it to through my notes and my feelings will treasure it too. So I just want to say that about Wayne Shorter. You'll be missed, and I hope he rests easy. Take care. It was great to do a video again.